So I'm going to present to you guys our job as support engineers here at Pipedrive. The title I chose for this presentation is like a bridge over troubled water, because I feel like what we do mostly is be a bridge between all the teams. Whenever there's an issue, we have to communicate with everyone, solve the problems, and mostly be like the calm people that make everything okay. Sorry. So the goal of this presentation is to give you an inside look into support engineering in Pipedrive, and mostly to show you the differences between what we do here and what other companies do, the way they do it. Also want to tell you a little bit about our team, our culture as a team. This presentation is Batman themed, as you will see. It's pretty obvious. So some fun facts about our team. There's one person missing from the Lisbon office, but it's pretty much José, me, and Tavanir from the Lisbon team. Yeah. So some fun facts. We are from very different backgrounds. José and Gonçalo are from like a technical background. They have done support engineering and support previously. I studied cinema, so very similar to what I'm doing right now. And I joined Pipedrive. I was actually the third employee to join Pipedrive in the support team. So here are some support peeps that I have worked with and still work with today. Also, some other things you might like to know about us. We have the most impressive soundtrack room. Not that it's a competition, but we are clearly winning. We are also a very united team. There's this kind of bromance environment around us. So we always say, hey, bro, even if you're a girl, it's cool. We also have exquisite taste in food, wine, gardening. This is more José and Gonçalo. I'm not so great at it. Films and video games. We have a pretty dark sense of humor, and we have the biggest Lego collection in Pipedrive per capita. So as Miguel was saying, we are a pretty diverse and international team. There's a lot of offices, but support engineering is focused in Tallinn, Lisbon, and New York. We are 4 people in Lisbon. In Tallinn, I think some people have moved to other positions, but I think we're 6, 7 around. New York, there's 3 people. But as Miguel was saying, we are always hiring. So if any of you is interested in support engineering, come and join us. So what do we do? This is a pretty big list. We work with the customer solutions team, so support, sales, and customer success, as mentioned previously. We also work very closely with the developers, not just reporting issues, but also they may ask us to do changes in the database or to make any kind of adjustment. So we work with everybody in Pipedrive pretty much. The backbone of our work is querying databases. So we also develop scripts, examine logs, monitor the app's overall health, and report any incident that might be happening. The incident management part, I feel it's a bit like inviting everyone to a party. It's not the funnest party. It's actually a worrying party where everyone, oh my God. But we are pretty much the PRs that invite everybody, make sure everyone is talking to each other, that support is informing the customers, developers are solving the problem, and we basically just provide the food and the entertainment, etc. for the party. We also debug customer-specific errors. We report to developers. We create bugs. We love doing it, even more when they are fixed. We also manage a lot of crises. We train customer support teams, be it in troubleshooting, API, webhooks, basically anything that might help us to do a better job and to make other people understand how they can do a better job so that we are all aligned in terms of knowledge. And basically, we solve mysteries and bring balance to the force. So whenever there's a problem, we are there. We are the firefighters, the detectives, anything you need us to be, pretty much. So what qualities should a support engineer have? Most of all, I think curiosity is very important because you have to be ready to do, well, anything that comes your way. And you have to know every feature in great detail. If you don't know it, you have to be curious about it. And also you can be doing so many different cases that honestly, you are always venturing into new waters. So if you are a curious person, that really helps and makes you enjoy what you do. I think also very important to be an organized person. So you need to know how to prioritize, how to have a good work ethic and organization method, so to speak. Also the presentation and the content, because what we tell support reps, sales, developers is very important. The way we structure the knowledge that we have, the analysis that we've done, and also communication skills comes into play here, because you need to know how to talk to people and how to make things happen. So that's really important. And also useful tools for us to do our job. So if a good chef needs a good set of knives, like Gordon Ramsay will say, and I also do the same, try. We also need good tools to be able to do our job well, because if you don't have tools, then you're pretty much at float, and that's not good. Hello? Okay. And also, and this is something we all share, we need to have a true love for problem solving. So some people will be probably scared when they see a problem. They will think, oh my God, like everything's wrong. The world is a terrible place. What am I going to do? We are like, yes, there's a problem. Let's fix it. Let's find the answer. I included Ben Affleck as Batman here, even though I do not agree that he's a good Batman. But, you know, for the sake of being inclusive. Yeah. So what type of questions come our way? Do you have an idea? Well, support will be able to answer this quite quick. But pretty much any feature-related issues. There's a lot of features. New features come up every day. They get more complex. So this is a pretty important thing for us to be, you know, aware of. Performance issues, API integrations, webhooks, you name it. Pretty much any question, even if the customer does not know how to code their website, they will probably reach out to us and be like, hey guys, do you know how I can do this better? And we will be happy to help if it's within our scope. Hello, welcome. So what is our process as support engineers? Our everyday work requires that we do all of these things. So we need to collect all relevant data. If we do our work properly and we collect all the information that we need, we also make the developers' work much easier. So if we replicate, do all the troubleshooting we need to do, test all the scenarios, replicate is like the key important thing we need to do all the time. They will always ask us this. Also make all the necessary adjustments in the database or in any kind of setting that the customer needs to be adjusted in. And very important, have an accountability for case resolution. So follow up with support, it's pointing at you guys. Following up with, sometimes with the customer, because we do have a team, which is the Griffin team, that also speaks directly to the customer, although this is very rare. I will talk about that later. It's important that we feel responsible for the cases that we do, and that we follow through until the end of the process to make sure that everything is okay, and that we restore the balance to the force like a good Jedi. And also, if we cannot give the customer what they want, it's very important that we find something that we can give to them so that they are not unhappy, and that we solve their struggle, whatever struggle it is. So this is a list of our tools. I don't know if you guys are familiar with most of them. Probably Slack is pretty well known. Does anyone use Slack in their company, in their present company? Yeah. We use it here, and it's really, really useful. Not just because, as I said, communication is important, and it's our way to connect with people from other offices, with people that we work with presently here, but also because it's a very good search tool for us to find anything that's ever been said about anything in Pipedrive. So that's very important. Also, we work with Nihilus, which is our email sync provider. We work with Pipedrive, very important. This is our way of managing tickets that come to us from support or from sales, is using Pipedrive. It's a very good sign, I think. We also use Ops Genie for support engineering on call. We use SendGrid, Graylog, Amazon for checking files, Confluence, Jira for creating bugs, CouchDB for storage of feature-related information. MySQL is the main thing, like the backbone, as I said previously, of our work. We also use a browser stack. I don't know if you are familiar with this tool, but it's really cool. Allows you to basically emulate any operative system, any browser. So for debugging issues that come to us from support, it's really useful. So as I was saying, MySQL is very important. Databases are very important. Here's like a short description of how important they are to us. Essentially, the important thing I want to transmit to you is that for us, not only is it a place or an entity, so to speak, that we have to know very well, we have to be comfortable in it, and we have to be very careful, because anything you do can break something or can make something. So it's very important to be very careful before you do anything. So since it is our home and we understand the implications, we also understand how useful it is for us to troubleshoot, for the data to be consistent, for everything to be cohesive. So it's pretty much the center of everything we do in a way. And because it is so important, we always keep in mind Uncle Ben's words. He is nothing to Batman, but I'm pretty sure that he had dinner someday with Spider-Man and his uncle, so it's still relevant to the theme of the presentation. So I would like to speak to you guys about support engineering in Pipedrive and why it's different from anything you've ever seen before. Very promising. So first, let's talk about the similarities. So just as in other companies where there's support engineering, we also understand the importance of this role for keeping the customers happy and for keeping the product running. Also, prioritization is very important. You can see there are some examples of how Nihilus, Kelly, for example, do prioritization for tickets. In Pipedrive, we have an integration specialist, which is this guy over there, Gonçalo. We call him the Automan, which is the integration specialist. And basically, we have an integration between Pipedrive, which we use for ticket management, Intercom, also Slack, and this is all done via Zapier. So basically, our prioritization is done depending on the subject of the ticket. So if it's an email sync issue, a GDPR deletion issue, it's more urgent than maybe a question about a feature, for example. Also, shield the engineers. I put this here because I was checking an article where basically Nihilus, Slack, HubSpot, Bugsnag, and a couple other people from other companies joined to discuss support engineering. And they were talking about how it's very important for you to basically protect the engineers from the 1 million questions that will come their way. So they have a queue to manage. But even sometimes, and this can be useful, but sometimes we come to get some coffee in the kitchen and questions flood everywhere, which also makes it more direct for you to support and answer questions. But sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming and maybe we are not paying attention to the queue because we have a lot of questions on the side. So it's important to do this management. Sometimes we have someone actually answering the questions specifically in a Slack channel that we have for this purpose. But it's important to protect them so they can do their work in the most focused way and clear the queue, which is our goal always. We always understand also that queue prioritization changes because the queue changes, and also maybe you have a very urgent case and then there's a very simple case, but the customer is losing their mind and is saying, please, you have to help me because my company is stopped and I'm going to leave Pipedrive, I'm going to die, you have to help me, please, right now. And then, yeah, the prioritization is a bit relative. And also documentation. We invest a lot in this, also in training support as much as we possibly can, and keeping all the information updated, because the more you know, the better you can work. And that goes for everyone in Pipedrive. So what does make Pipedrive support engineering different? I also would like to maybe involve Jose and Gonçalo because they have worked in different companies. As I mentioned, I came from support, so this is the first support engineering role that I'm performing. I was interviewing them to find the differences that you can identify between how we do it here and how other companies do it. I was also checking that Nihilus, Bugsnag, Slack, you name it, also do not do these things, or at least the first part. So here in Pipedrive, there's a clear distinction between support and support engineering roles. I don't know if anyone here is a support engineer in a different company, but hi guys, brothers in arms. So yeah, basically, from the information we collected, also from the experience of my colleagues, usually a support engineer will also talk to the customers, which we were discussing the other day, can be mind-blowing. So you're running really difficult queries in the database, and the customer on the other side is like, please solve my problem quickly. So here in Pipedrive, we have a clear distinction between the two roles. We sometimes do talk to customers if they are very technically inclined, and it's easier for us to reach out to them. And we also have the Griffin team, but mostly we don't talk to the customers, we talk to support, and they are the guys who hold the fort. So, you know, clap for them, they are pretty important people, for sure. Also, the easily accessible information part is very important. I was talking with one of our colleagues from Infra, and he was saying that in previous companies that he worked in, the bureaucracy and the difficulty that there was to access the information from higher ends was, crazy. So it would take days. Or would be super. They would feel a little powerless, so to speak. So here, we have access to anything we need to do our job in the best way possible. And also, you basically can talk to anyone in Pipedrive. You can talk to Timo Rain, you can talk to Deborah, you can talk to your colleague sitting next to you, to the big boss from security. They are just one Slack away, and that's really easy for us to basically get our problem solved because we can talk to the people we need to talk to in a very open way. Like, nobody is going to tell you, you should not be talking to me. I'm a very serious man. You have to talk to somebody else. No. Also, we have a lot of time to investigate our cases, which is, well, a lot of time. We do have some, expectations and ETAs for solving things, but we do like to go to the bottom of issues, not just do a quick fix and think, okay, yeah, I've just adjusted this in the database for you. Let's hope it never happens again. We want to solve it from the roots, and we want to go into issues as fully as possible. Also, the possibility for professional and personal development. Changing, for example, from support to support engineering was not the most obvious transition. And for me especially, I say this all the time, I would never think about being a support engineer anywhere else because I never thought about it at all. So it was a pretty cool thing, a pretty cool world for me to discover, and I'm very happy that I did. So these are the main differences. If you have any question, feel free to ask. We also will have a short Q&A afterwards. So some numbers to blow you guys away. In 2016, we had this amount of cases, and for 2019, we are already above that number, and it's only April. So you can see a clear growth in work volume, which makes perfect sense for a growing company. So just imagining how it's going to be by the end of 2019, it's going to be a very big building over there. And some inspirational stuff. We have some mottos, some mantras in our team. One of them is born to troubleshoot. I feel like this defines what we are in a very big way. I always see it like when it's Christmas and your parents or your wife or whoever takes out the Christmas tree and all the lights and stuff, and everything's tangled, and the person's like, oh my God, like I have to untangle this, I don't want to. They just pull it and nothing happens. I feel like the support engineer is the person who goes in and takes all the knots out and makes everything okay. Because I was always the person to do this in my family. So I guess I'm the support engineer of my family. Also, assumption is the mother of all screw-ups is also one of our big mottos. Gonzalo loves this motto. I think he's going to get a tattoo with it someday. And one inspirational idea, go the extra mile because it's worth the while. It helps support do a better job, helps the customer be happy forever. And this is very important. So here's an inspirational quote for you guys. We'll give you some time to read it. This, I think, summarizes something we say many times, which is that not all heroes wear capes, and many times you will make a very small adjustment in the customer's database. You will just change an active flag, and it's going to make all the difference for his work and for his company. So that's it from my part.